companies are just conglomerates that crap out cash and asset value like nobody's business, baby. I am just sitting here floored by what has happened. Like, God damn. God damn. Woo! Baby, say it with me now. All-time highs. Oh my God, me and my wife were sitting here transferring some of our stocks to our TFSA, and we're so glad we did before after hours, because Meta stock just friggin' exploded, and it's like one of the largest position in our combined portfolios. It's the largest position in her portfolio. She's up like a couple $1,000 in after hours already. It's just insane, and the tide is being raised by just a few ships, in contrast to looking at Google earnings and Microsoft a couple days ago. I mean, they tanked. Google really brought down the whole market and the sentiment of the market, and here we go with Meta and Amazon just blowing it out of the water, and after hours raising the whole S&P and every stock with it, even Tesla, all these other companies, Google, all going up except for Apple. But even with Apple's bad earnings, it can't help but still stay flat, which is just staggering. So we're going to break this down. If you're on a path to financial independence, to perhaps day one retire early like me and my wife are dedicated to, consider subscribing, because I'll try and do more of a combined portfolio update on my live stream on Sunday, so you can also subscribe for that. But let's get into this, because Meta, man, like, whew, baby, I can't get over the massive explosion here, and it is damn near well deserved, because I know Meta was really working on bringing their net income back up after putting so much damn money into Reality Labs and VR, but even the revenue hit an all-time high here, which is quite impressive, because I mean, for a year over year, going from 116 billion to 134 damn billion, a double-digit increase. We are back to full-blown rocket ship here, baby. I mean, it's like we're in a recession, but we're not at the same time. I mean, I'm watching my bills go up, but I'm also watching my portfolio start to go up pretty dramatically with those bills, so it kind of alleviates a little bit of the pain. Look at the net income growth, and keep in mind, this is going to be like a temporary thing, because they spent so much money, and the market got so pissed with them spending money. That's why their stock dropped to $90 before sitting at, what, a year and a half later now at like 400 and something. So 69% net income growth is staggering, and their balance sheet, very, very healthy here as well, folks. I mean, I've kind of gone through this pretty extensively. I mean, you're taking a look at a company here that's sitting on 229 billion in assets. They're doing a great job at increasing assets, but also increasing some liabilities here to 76 billion. But I mean, it's one of the best balance sheets, you know, and this is why they're one of the S&P top 10 companies. And we can see here that I think one of the primary reasons that they've seen such growth is because of whatever they've done, like Google is doing, to entice people to do more market spending. Because I mean, this was just record. It's just crazy. I mean, look at the US growth here as well. US and Canada went up hugely. I mean, just across the board. They're outside of basically the rest of the world, you know, basically Asia, Europe, US, Canada, just absolutely just crushing it. But one thing I also want to point out here is the Reality Labs, because they didn't release a new VR for quite some time. I mean, we can see on a year over year basis here, if you go back to like Q1 of 2023 versus Q1 of 2022, like they were losing like half as much money on the sales of Reality Labs, but because they released the Quest 3, and I immediately bought one as well, like leading into the holiday season, we can see that they made, for the first time ever, $1 billion in revenue off of, you know, VR. So we need to see what Apple can show in those numbers in comparison with their $3,000 headset for Q1. But I got to applaud Meta here, man. Like, they're really proving a healthy comeback. And yeah, congrats. It's going to bring up the entire market. So Apple, in contrast here, not nearly as good. Apple's starting to recover from a bit of the drop happening here. We'll see how it opens up. And this was not a bad quarter for Apple. Let me zoom my head out of the way here and maybe just zoom these numbers in a little bit just to give you guys a more clerical view, because their total net sales did hit a record of 119 billion versus 117. Let's just take a look here, because their gross margins were insanely nice here at 54 billion. Net income, you know, just, whew, man, I remember when Apple was posting last quarter like 23 billion. They just posted 33 billion net income, another record net income quarter for them, because they've been doing, again, cost cutting and measures. But most of this has only been driven by iPhone sales and basically their services industry, because I'm really shocked with all the marketing they did on wearables, that their wearables, you know, the watches and everything, have actually dropped from 13 billion to 11 billion. And let me just make sure I'm taking a look, because every time I look at these numbers, I'm always shocked to see, because sometimes they'll say 2023 is on the right column. I think that's what Amazon does. But yeah, I mean, the only thing that went up in sales was really iPhones and services. Everything else has been basically flat or to the downside, especially iPads, which is surprising, because Mac sales seem to be pretty decent. Like, it was around flat, but yeah, iPads, wearables, not what they once were for Apple. And the only thing good about Apple's balance sheet, if you take a look at assets, their assets didn't increase a whole lot, but what they have been doing is, looks like they've been paying down liabilities, because they've decreased about 11 billion in total liabilities. So good for Apple. I think Apple's got a good future ahead of it, like Google does. It's one of these companies where I'm hoping they tank so I can buy more. And I told you if Google drops below 140, where my buy marker was, just like if Tesla drops below 181, where I started my initial positions here, I'll definitely be picking up a lot more. Now, luckily, we do have a little bit of exposure to Amazon. Again, my wife has a mild amount. It's something that we should be buying more of, and it was something that I was looking at buying over Tesla until Tesla tanked miserably. And now we're kind of missing the boat on this one because it is skyrocketing. I mean, it doesn't make a huge material impact on the percentage weightings of our portfolios, but still, let's just take a look here because these numbers, again, also just staggering, because when you look at net product sales from 242 billion to 255 billion on a percentage basis, it's not that staggering. In contrast, I keep saying contrast a lot to where we were. I mean, on a quarter over quarter, it's 70 billion versus 76 billion. But when you take a look at the total year, I mean, it's still a huge jump, but in the percentage of it all, it's nothing massive. Whereas their services have been just going bananas. And this is probably related to AWS, but from 271 billion to 318, and from 78 to 93. Like whatever they're doing from the services front, and this should really set up the T for Shopify. I think if Shopify hasn't already posted earnings, I'll have to take a look, because my God, man, like e-commerce is just on fire from 513 billion to 574 billion. Is Amazon going to be the first company to make $1 trillion damn dollars? Because it looks like it's coming at this growth rate, baby. Oh my God. Like, just unbelievable numbers here. Now, obviously, they're not really baking a lot of this into the bottom line by the looks of it, but look at their net interest income as well. They did 2.9 billion in interest income alone. So they've been definitely cashing in on the high interest market here. If we scroll down to, I should take a look at AWS first, net sales. Yeah, AWS from 80 billion to 90 billion. I mean, AWS is just totally skyrocketing for them still. Cash equivalents, let's take a look here, sitting on 73 billion in cash. They're talking about 527 billion dollars in total assets. Whew, baby. But a lot of that's probably related to inventories as well. I mean, they got 33 billion in inventories, accounts receivable, another 52 billion. So do take that into consideration. A lot of this is just product volume and holding accounts for basically clients and people that use Amazon and, put their products on there. It's part of their, can be considered part of their assets and probably part of their liabilities. The 164 in total current liabilities, still one of the best balance sheets on the S&P top 10. Why it deserves to be here. These companies are just conglomerates that crap out cash and asset value like nobody's business, baby. I am just sitting here floored by what has happened. Like, God damn. I'm not complaining by any metric, and this is why I just won't hold cash-based assets. I mean, I think we were just calculating, me and my wife probably less than 5%, probably around 5-6% of our entire portfolio in cash right now. I'm so thankful. I'm so damn thankful most of our money's in the market. That's God. Look at the S&P's up 1.19% right now. I'm not trying to brag or boast or whatever. I mean, the market could shift at any time to some other extent, and we could go back into a downtrend. But because I'm such a long-term bull in I'm always a glass half full kind of a guy. When it dips, I'm buying. And I'm buying aggressively when it dips a lot. And when it skyrockets like this, we cheers our glasses to my fellow investors out there that realize that, when you're young, forget the volatility, buy when it's down and celebrate when it's strong. I mean, this is what we're living for, but stay cool, stay awesome. And as always, I look forward to catching you in the next one.